Bailey Armour and Scott Shapiro here, back with another week of analysis at Kentucky's own Ellis Park. We've got a lot of great information to talk about today. We've got a stakes race on Sunday and that late pick four sequence on Monday, which Monday racing in Kentucky is super exciting. And I know that you and I are both eager to follow these horses and play these tickets all summer long. Of course, we've got that incredible promotion from Express Bet and First Bet where you can split 1 million first rewards points when you hit the late pick four at Ellis Park on Monday. So after we dive into that stakes on Sunday, we'll go through the late pick four sequence and talk about the horses that we like in this pretty good sequence, I would say, especially for including a couple of maiden races. What do you think?
No, I think it's a fun sequence, these late pick fours on Monday so far, although last week didn't work out. We didn't get the video filmed in time, fortunately, because my opinions weren't that good, but I filmed the video of my own, hoping to rebound. But yeah, let's talk about the Jeff Hall Memorial, which is the stake race on Sunday. It goes as race 8, 6.5 furlongs, and some pretty fun field. I know there's a horse we're both looking forward to watching. Whether we're going to be betting on him, that's the question.
Now, of course, you've got this sprint. So the horses I like in this race are the number one, Hear My Song, of course, who actually won this race almost a year to date ago in 2023, ran last out against my very own Meatball, closed the game Sugar in the Aristides at Churchill. He ran a super game for it that day. And honestly, going into that race, I thought that he had a pretty good shot to beat us. He ran before that on Derby Day, so I think maybe he needed those two races, wasn't quite in good enough form, but I think he's primed for a pretty good setup on Sunday in the Jeff Hall.
Yeah, you say us. I'll let the folks know. Close the game, Sugar. You worked with the Adam Rice barn at Keeneland earlier in the spring/summer, I think. So that's why it's us, and that's why you call the Meatball and not Close the Game, Sugar. But Hear Me Song, super cool. Won this race last year and did so by grinding it out. Did so with an outside stalking trip. You mentioned the Aristides, maybe a little bit of a regression spot after running huge in the Churchill Downs. Now, I know that's listed as a grade one. Don't think it got a grade one field this year, but the Aristides got probably a better field than the non-graded stake that it's listed as. I think Hear Me Song is the one to beat in here. Easy horse to root for. I remember when he won this race last year, I was working at Ellis Park. And, the owner and breeder, Nathan Hayden, is kind of like a home horse for them. They went nuts. I think Happy as a Choice is going to beat them this year, though. Johnny Ortiz, red hot of late, 5 for 25 over the last 30 days, $3.16 ROI. And this one, second off the layoff, ran a big race last time, just appears to be getting better. Who do you like?
Other than Hear My Song, of course, Happy as a Choice. Great argument there. I think Scotland for Ellen J. Foxwoods on the outside post in the 7 could do something pretty good this day. I don't think that you'll get a super high price on him come Sunday. He's pretty quick. He's running as part of this field, and he hasn't won in a year, though. So that makes me kind of cool my jets on this horse a little bit, but it's definitely one that I would include in my ticket.
Yeah, I'm leery on Scotland. I mean, this horse was really good early on in his career. Looked like he had a huge, promising career, winning a lot of stakes races ahead of him. He ran poorly in the Travers, but it was over the mud, and he really has not been the same since. Really poor effort in the Pennsylvania Derby. He's capable, but like you said, he probably won't be that 5-1 price. Maybe get bet down from that. I think Gulfstream Way is a little bit interesting at a price, but for me, it's Happy as a Choice. And if I'm not going to win, I'll hope that it's Hear Me Song for sure.
Oh, yeah. What a great story, especially when you've got a homebred owner breeder. I love following those.
No doubt.
So we've gone through the stake on Sunday. Now it's time for the real meat and potatoes, if you will, the late pick four on Monday. We've got a 4-race sequence starting in race 6 with a mile on the turf, maidens, special weight, and we've got 4 first-time starters in this race. I know I've got a horse I've got my eye on, but I'll let you go first and tell me what you think.
Well, the horse you have your eye on is the horse, because we talked about it before we came on air, is the horse that I have for second and was a must use. I'll leave that one for you. My other horse and top pick, probably because it's going to be a little bit of a better price, is number 10, Mika. This is a Catholic boy colt for Mike Maker. 3-1 on debut, got outrun that day, but has every reason to move forward with the added ground. Didn't get out of the gates well that day. So I think Mika, the horse that I'm going to bet in here, but I think obviously the horse you're about to talk about is a use as well.
Not to give it away at all, but the number 2, Coffee Talk, is a debuter for Brad Cox with Laurent Giroux up. This is a Godolphin homebred by Medaglia d'Oro, has a full a full brother out of the same mare, Desert Legacy. I did some sleuthing. This mare's dam, Sahara Gold, has an incredible produce record, 2 million lifetime earnings amongst all the progeny. Super talented family, and I think this horse, they've been waiting to find a perfect spot for him, and I think this just could be it.
Could be. Brad Cox 4 for 14 over the last 3 years with horses that are 2-year-olds debuting in Ellis Turf routes. So don't get it in your head that he can't win these races or he's sending his second and third tier to Ellis. He wins plenty of races with good horses there as well.
Absolutely. Now, the next race in the sequence, race number 7, is a mile on the dirt allowance. I've got one picked out in here, the number 4 Wrecker Point for that Derby entry trainer, Chris Hartman from Louisville, and jockey Axel Conception. So this is a horse that was training all winter the past 2 years at Oakland and Fairgrounds. Ships to Churchill last out, Axel rides and gives this horse the best trip of his life, goes straight to the lead on a rail trip in a field of 11 and just absolutely blows them all away. Something that I guess the jockey calling it Oakland just maybe couldn't quite figure this horse out or something. I don't know. But Axel is back to ride today in this race at Ellis. And when I saw that, it was, fire emojis across the board for me. So I'm all in on number 4, Wrecker Point.
All right, well, we'll go mano y mano here. I don't have a super strong opinion. My biggest opinion is there's a lot of speed, including Wrecker Point, and can be dicey business playing against speed horses at Ellis over that dirt course. But I'm going to hope they go at it. One horse I'm definitely going to use in a spread is the price horse number 5, Ethereal Road, off the bench for Ron Moquette. I think they're going to go at it up front. I know this horse on the cutback to this 1.5 turn mile should be finishing well at a big price.
Now, next in the sequence, we've got a 6 furlong, the only stakes race on the card this day. We've got a filly and mare 6 furlong sprint on the dirt. I've got 3 in here. So number 1, Amaretti, Bill Mott and Christian Torres. She's pretty quick. She won last out under Jose Ortiz at Churchill, but she's never won back-to-back before. So for that reason, I'm going to include the number 4, You're So Silly, and the number 8, Nonviolence, who ran second in this race last year with Rayla Gutierrez. He's got Jaime Torres up, who's been on a crazy hot streak recently. A lot of upsets, a lot of really good trips and piloting from him. So I'm excited to see what he can do with 8, Nonviolence.
Nonviolence almost won this last year and almost did so beating Wicked Halo, who was a big favorite in there. Nonviolence to me is kind of a second tier use. I like that outside draw. You're So Silly. Always been a big fan of this horse, but I am leaning most on Amaretti. I know you mentioned that this horse has never won back-to-back races in a row, but it's kind of easy to poke some holes in this one's losses. 2 back, slop, back to May 20th, the only other off-the-board effort, slop, and then the only other defeat at all in recent memory was to a seed when this one ran second. So I think this is a horse that really ran well last time, is still getting better. But she's the must-use top pick for me, but I think your other 2 are the other includes as well.
Yeah, super respectable filly there, and you can definitely make an excuse, especially with the weather. So hopefully it's dry on Monday for this action. Now, to close out the sequence, we've got a mile and an eighth on the turf, maidens again, 2 turf maiden races in 1 pick 4 is so fun to handicap, isn't it, Scott?
I love it. You know that.
I know. So I'm looking at the number 11 here, English Tunnel, which is funny, obviously by English Channel, for Brian Hernandez and the Cat, Wayne Catalano. So this is one shipping in from Keeneland, had a pretty bad trip last out, got bumped at the start, kind of stumbled and just couldn't quite cover up that ground, but did come from 11th all the way up to 3rd in that race and was a super long shot price. I don't remember exactly what it was. I know it was over 40-1 or something. Yeah, 37-1. Super long shot price that day. I think if he hadn't had that bad break, he probably could have come a little bit closer to the wire. So I'm including him and the number 2 Dash Man, which is an Oscar Performance, which they're also red hot right now. Declan Cannon had a long break after a start at Gulfstream back in December. 6 months, shipped to Kentucky, started training, and has a super consistent work pattern going from 4 furlongs to 5 to 6. Last 2 works in 1 minute and 13 seconds apiece on 6 furlongs. So I think over the turf, that's a pretty good speed.
Yeah, I think those both make a lot of sense. The English Channel, I'll just piggyback off of your commentary. That race that this one exits, interesting take to try to figure out how we feel about it, because Rebel Red came back to win under wraps again for Sharita at Saratoga. But the runner-up, Rocky Joy, if you remember, that was the chalk, heavy chalk that lost last week on Monday. So I'm not sure if what to make of that, but English Channel with a better break will certainly be a factor. And Dash Man makes sense. Brian Lynch loves it at Ellis Park. He's good off 90-plus day breaks. Those are my top two as well.
I love when we pick the same horses and don't talk about it. It makes me feel so smart. Well, hopefully you can feel just as smart as Scott and I do by playing the late pick 4 at Ellis Park on Monday. Make sure you're opted into that promotion on Express Bet and First Bet, and you'll get your share of $1 million first rewards points when you win.